Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Offering our salutations to Ramana, who shines as the very self in all beings. We begin today's satsang with a prayer by Srimati Sapna Ganesh that will be followed by the chanting of the Muktaka trayam by Revathi Sankar.
Dakshinamurti Sarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Ramanacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Angikam Bhuvanam Yasya Vachikam Sarva Vangmayam Aharyam Chandrataradi Tam Namasatvikam Shivam Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana to everyone.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Ekamaksharam Hridi Nirantaram Bhasate Swayam Likhyate Katham Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahmamatram Hyaham Aham Iti Sakshat Atmarupena Bhati Hridi Vishamanasa Swam Chinvata Majjatava Pavana Chalana Rodhat Atmanishto Bhavatvam Deham Mrinmaya Vajjadatmakam Aham Buddhirna Tasyastyato Naham Tattadabhava Sukti Samaye Siddhatma Sadbhavataha Koham Bhavayutah Kuto Varadhiya Drishtvatmanishtatmana Soham Spurtitaya Arunachala Shivaha Purno Vibhati Swayam Soham Spurtitaya Arunachala Shivaha Purno Vibhati Swayam. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. We continue the session satsang with chanting of a few verses from Upadesa Saram by Srimati Ashwini.
Namo Ramana. कर्तुराज्ञया प्राप्यते फलं कर्म किं परं कर्म तज्जडं कृतिमहोददौ पतनकारणं फलमशाश्वतं गतिनिरोधकम् ईश्वरार्पितं नेच्छया कृतं चित्तशोधकं मुक्तिसाधकं कायवाङ्मना कार्यमुत्तमं पूजनं जपश्चिन्तनं क्रमात् जगत ईषदी युक्तसेवनम् अष्टमूर्तिभृद्देवपूजनम् उत्तमस्तवादुच्छमन्दथ चित्तजं जप ध्यानमुत्तमम् आज्यधारया स्रोतसा समम् सरलचिन्तनं विरलतः परम् वेदभावनात् सोऽहमित्यसौ भावनाभिधा पावनीमथ भावशून्य सद्भावसुस्थिति भावना बलात् भक्तिरुत्तमा हृत्स्थले मना स्वस्थता क्रिया भक्तियोगबोधाशनिश्चितम्। नमो रमण.
Now we have the offering of a few Ramananjali Sangeetam songs. The offerings will be done by Srimati V. Radha. That will be followed by a Ramananjali song presentation by Dr. Pratibha Sundaresh and Savitri Krishnan and Jaisriram Krishnan, and by Kumari Revathi Sankar. Ramananjali Sangeetam offerings.
Namo Ramana to all. This month being the auspicious month, remembering the mother of Ramana, Alagamma. So in that remembrance, we are presenting a song on Matrabhuteshwara in the Ragam Saranga, set to Aditalam, and the composition is by Sri Manavasi Ramaswamy Iyer. मातृभूतेश्वरम् आश्रयामि महायोग शक्ति समेतम् मातृभूतेश्वरम् आश्रयामि महायोग शक्ति समेतम् मातृभूतेश्वरम् आश्रयामि महायोग शक्ति समेतम् मातृभूतेश्वरम् आश्रयामि। यात्र ध्यान यातीत परम अवाङ्मनो गोचरम् अप्रमेयम् यात्र ध्यान ध्येयातीत परम अवाङ्मनो गोचरम् अप्रमेयम् मातृभूतेश्वरम् आश्रयामि। अरुण रमण मात्र अधिष्ठान शोभम् अखिलातिभञ्जनम् अगहरम् अरुण रमण मात्र अधिष्ठान शोभम् अखिलातिभञ्जनम् अगहरम् सदा वेदघोषज्वलितं सर्वसंवृत्तिकरं पक्वन्नप्रदकरं सङ्गीतनिपुणगानामृताभिषिक्तं साङ्गधर विनुत राम हृदय रमणम् आश्रयामि सदा वेदघोषज्वलितं सर्वसमृद्धिकरं पक्वन्नप्रदकरं सङ्गीतनिपुणगानामृताभिषिक्तं साङ्गधर विनुतरामहृदय रमणं मातृभूतेश्वरम् आश्रयामि महायोग शक्ति समेतं मातृभूतेश्वरम् आश्रयामि। नमो रमण।
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Even I have chosen a song on Matrubhuteshwara for the upcoming Mother's Day on May 19th, 1922, when Mother Alagamal attained liberation under the hands of Bhagwan Ramana. And RMCL has already celebrated the Alagamal's Day yesterday. And so in view of that, singing a song by Murugaya Pankajakshamma. அருட்செல்வந்தனைன்றால் அன்னையழகம்மையார் அனைத்துயிர்க்குமே அவள் அருட்புரிதாயல்லவோ அருட்செல்வந்தனைன்றால் அன்னையழகம்மையார் அனைத்துயிர்க்குமே அவள் அருட்புரிதாயல்லவோ திரு அருட்குண குன்றாய் திகழ்ந்திடும் தெய்வம் அவள் தேவரும் தோளும் மகா மாத்ருபூதேஸ்வரியாம் திரு அருட்குண குன்றாய் திகழ்ந்திடும் தெய்வம் அவள் தேவரும் தோளும் மகா மாத்ருபூதேஸ்வரியாம் அருட்செல்வந்தன ஈன்றால் அன்னையழகம்மையார் அனைத்துயிர்க்குமே அவள் அருட்புரிதாயல்லவோ திருச்சுழி தன்னில் அவள் செம்மை சேர் சுந்தருக்கு தேசுடை துணைவியாம் திருவுடை தேவி அவள் திருச்சுழி தன்னில் அவள் செம்மை சேர் சுந்தருக்கு தேசுடை துணைவியாம் திருவுடை தேவி அவள் ஊரும் உலகம் புகழ் உத்தம தாயவளாம் உயர்நிலை அடைந்தனல் ஒப்பில்லாளகம்மை ஊரும் உலகம் புகழ் உத்தம தாயவளாம் உயர்நிலை அடைந்தனல் ஒப்பில்லாளகம்மை அருட்செல்வந்தனையீன்றால் அன்னையழகம்மையார் அனைத்துயிர்க்குமே அவள் அருட்புரிதாயல்லவோ அனைத்துலகமும் பணி அண்ணல் ரமணனுக்கே அன்னையாய் வாய்த்த பெரும் அரும் தவ மாதரசி அனைத்துலகமும் பணி அண்ணல் ரமணனுக்கே அன்னையாய் வாய்த்த பெரும் அரும் தவ மாதரசி கனையனை வந்தடைந்தே தன்பவ பிணி தீர்த்தே தவயோக ஞான நிலை தானடைந்தே உய்ந்தனலே கனையனை வந்தடைந்தே தன்பவ பிணி தீர்த்தே தவயோக ஞான நிலை தானடைந்தே உய்ந்தனலே அருட்செல்வந்தனையீன்றால் அன்னையழகம்மையார் அனைத்துயிர்க்குமே அவள் அருட்புரிதாயல்லவோ அருட்செல்வம் தனையீன்றால் அன்னையழகம்மையார் அனைத்துயிர் கூமேயவள் அருட்புரித்தாயல்லவோ. நமோ ரமண.
ಕರೆವ ಒಂದು ದಿನ ರಮಣ ಗುರು ನನ್ನನು ತನ್ನೆದೆ ಗುಹೆಗೆ. ಕರೆವ ಒಂದು ದಿನ ರಮಣ ಗುರು ನನ್ನನು ತನ್ನೆದೆ ಗುಹೆಗೆ. ನೋಡಿಯು ವರ್ಣಿಸಲಾಗದ ಸುಂದರ ದರ್ಶನ ದೊರೆಯುವ ತಾಣಕ್ಕೆ. ನೋಡಿಯು ವರ್ಣಿಸಲಾಗದ ಸುಂದರ ದರ್ಶನ ದೊರೆಯುವ ತಾಣಕ್ಕೆ. ಕರೆವ ಒಂದು ದಿನ ರಮಣ ಗುರು ನನ್ನನು ತನ್ನೆದೆ ಗುಹೆಗೆ. ಹಸಿವುದಾಹಗಳೇ ಇಲ್ಲದ ಸ್ವಾರ್ಥ ದ್ವೇಷ ತಮಸಲ್ಲದ. ಹಸಿವುದಾಹಗಳೇ ಇಲ್ಲದ ಸ್ವಾರ್ಥ ದ್ವೇಷ ತಮಸಲ್ಲದ. ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಶ್ರೀರಮಣನ ಮೌನದ. ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಶ್ರೀ ರಮಣನ ಮೌನದ ಕೊಳಲು ನುಡಿವ ಕೇವಲ ಪದಕ್ಕೆ. ಕೊಳಲು ನುಡಿವ ಕೇವಲ ಪದಕ್ಕೆ. ಕರೆವ ಒಂದು ದಿನ ರಮಣ ಗುರು ನನ್ನನು ತನ್ನೆದೆ ಗುಹೆಗೆ. ನಿತ್ಯ ಕನಸು ಎಚ್ಚರ ಇರದ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಸೂರ್ಯ ಹೊಳೆಯುವ ಕಡೆಗೆ. ನಿತ್ಯ ಕನಸು ಎಚ್ಚರ ಇರದ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಸೂರ್ಯ ಹೊಳೆಯುವ ಕಡೆಗೆ. ಮೈ ಮನವಿಲ್ಲದ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ. ಮೈ ಮನವಿಲ್ಲದ ಅನಂತ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಜೊತೆ ಬಾಳಲಿಕೆ. ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಜೊತೆ ಬಾಳಲಿಕೆ. ಕರೆವ ಒಂದು ದಿನ ರಮಣ ಗುರು ನನ್ನನು ತನ್ನೆದೆ ಗುಹೆಗೆ. ಹೋದವರಾರೋ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾರದ ಊರಿನ ಸುವರ್ಣ ಭವನದಲ್ಲಿ. ಹೋದವರಾರೋ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾರದ ಊರಿನ ಸುವರ್ಣ ಭವನದಲ್ಲಿ. ಜ್ಞಾನರೂಪಿ ಶ್ರೀರಮಣನ ಸಭೆಯಲಿ. ಜ್ಞಾನರೂಪಿ ಶ್ರೀ ರಮಣನ ಸಭೆಯಲಿ ಪತಿಯ ಜೊತೆಗಿರಲು ಸುಖದಲ್ಲಿ. ಪತಿಯ ಜೊತೆಗಿರಲು ಸುಖದಲ್ಲಿ. ಕರೆವ ಒಂದು ದಿನ ರಮಣ ಗುರು ನನ್ನನು ತನ್ನೆದೆ ಗುಹೆಗೆ. ನೋಡಿಯು ವರ್ಣಿಸಲಾಗದ ಸುಂದರ ದರ್ಶನ ದೊರೆಯುವ ತಾಣಕ್ಕೆ. ಕರೆವ ಒಂದು ದಿನ ರಮಣ ಗುರು ನನ್ನನು ತನ್ನೆದೆ ಗುಹೆಗೆ. ನನ್ನನು ತನ್ನೆದೆ ಗುಹೆಗೆ. ನನ್ನನು ತನ್ನೆದೆ ಗುಹೆಗೆ. ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಶ್ರೀ ರಾಮ.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. I'll be presenting a song written by Dr. Sarada, where the birth of Ramana, remembering Alagamma and Sundaramayar, and the time of his birth, the star in which he was born, everything is described in a very beautiful manner. And The song starts with the remembrance of Mother Alagammal. Presenting before you, a song written by Dr. Sarada from our dance ballet, Sri Ramananjali. Alagam Manavarabala Ramana Anandalila Alagam Manavarabala Ramana Anandalila Sundararyana Tapaphala Ramana Tiruchurivilola Sundararyana Tapaphala Ramana Tiruchurivilola Ramana Anandalila Alagam Manavarabala Ramana Anandalila Ananda Natana Hridayadi Maduta Ramana Ardradina Janita Ananda Natana Hridayadi Maduta Ramana Ardradina Janita Ramana Anandalila Alagam Manavarabala Ramana Anandalila Punya Punarvasudita Ramana Kamaniya Sucharita Punya Punarvasudita Ramana Kamaniya Sucharita Ramana Anandalila Alagam Manavarabala Ramana Anandalila Alagam Manavarabala Ramana Anandalila Ramana Anandalila Ramana Anandalila Namo Ramana.
We now have a sharing by Sri Nandakumarji, and the sharing will be followed by a self-enquiry session too, conducted by Sri Nandakumarji.
Which was published in 1927 to begin with. I am starting with the appendix where the experience of Sri T.K. Sundaresh Iyer, who wrote the first preface to the original collected works, how he came to write that is narrated here in this experience, and we'll follow that with the translation of the preface itself. The collected works of Sri Ramana Maharishi, Sri Ramana Nool Thirat. I am reading the appendix on page 337. This is the 16th edition, I think, that I am having with me. 17th edition, 2025. So we are seeing or going through the experience of K. Sundaresh Iyer, T.K. Sundaresh Iyer, in being put to this task of writing the preface to Ramana Nool Thirattu, the collected works by Bhagavan himself. There is a small note from the ashram. The Nool Thirattu of Sri Bhagavan in Tamil carries a preface also in Tamil written by T.K. Sundaresh Iyer, a well-known, outstanding devotee. One special feature of this preface is that there is a significant correction, an affirmation by Sri Bhagavan himself to the effect that aspirants who study the works are certain to attain the bliss of liberation. T.K. Sundaresh Iyer writes hope, and the only correction Bhagavan makes in that entire preface is to change that hope into certain, thinnam, that those who read, meditate on these collected works is certain to get the bliss of the Brahman. We present here an extract from T.K. Sundaresh Iyer's At the Feet of Bhagavan, explaining the circumstances in which he wrote the preface. We also present its translation. Genesis of the introduction to the collected works. Genesis of the introduction to the collected works. This is the experience of T.K. Sundaresh Iyer taken from the book At the Feet of Bhagavan, written by him. It was about 1927 when Sri Bhagavan's Nool Thirattu in Tamil was under preparation to be published. So roughly about 5 years from the setting up of the ashram after Amma's Mahanirvana in 1922. It was about 1927 when Sri Bhagavan's Nool Thirattu in Tamil was under preparation to be published. There was talk among the ashram pandits that the book must have a preface, although the devotees of Maharishi considered that nobody was qualified to write a preface to his works. The pandits proposed the writing of a preface, but none of them came forward to write it, each excusing himself that he was not qualified for the task. It was a drama of several hours as one proposed another for the purpose, and each declined the honor. Bhagavan was watching all this quietly. At about 10:30 in the night, as I was passing beside the hall, Sri Bhagavan looked at me and said, "Why not you write the preface yourself?" I was taken aback at this proposal, but meekly replied, I would venture to write it only if I had Bhagavan's blessings in the task. Bhagavan said, "Do write it, and it will come all right." So I began writing at the dead of night, and to my great surprise, within 3/4 of an hour, I made a draft as if impelled, driven by some supreme force. I altered not even a comma of it, and at 2 o'clock in the early morning, I placed it at the feet of Bhagavan. He was happy to see how the contents were arranged and to note the simplicity of the expressions used. He passed it as all right and asked me to take it away. But as I had taken the written sheets of paper only a few steps away, Sri Maharishi beckoned me to show them to him once again. I had concluded the preface in the following way. It is hoped that this work in the form of Bhagavan's grace will give to all who aspire to eternal truth liberation in the form of gaining supreme bliss, shaped as the taking away of all sorrow. Let me read that paragraph again. I had concluded the preface in the following way. It is hoped, Nambugiren, it is hoped that this work in the form of Bhagavan's grace, this whole collected work says Bhagavan's grace appearing with name and form in front of us. Each of the parts of this collected works, which we will see in the preface, is all actually the Bhagavan's grace out of compassion appearing before us. It is Deva Darshanam. It is really the darshan of Bhagavan himself, his grace in the form of the thoughts that are put down into paper here, but which are actually inside us in our consciousness. So when you think of these thoughts, our consciousness connects with Bhagavan's grace. Getting this book in our hands is the greatest punya in the prarabdha of each of us. That in our prarabdha, that we have something written like this by Ishvara, that we will have the teachings of Bhagavan before us in hard copy. That is the Bhagavan's Murti appearing before us out of compassion in that form. It's only by Ishvara's grace that one could get that prarabdha of having this book in our hand. That it is hoped that this work in the form of Bhagavan's grace will give to all who aspire to eternal truth. So what is asked of us? We should not aspire for this or that. We should not aspire for X or Y, but understand that the supreme bliss is one with supreme truth, that it cannot be real bliss unless it is one with Ullapurul. If that happiness were to be enjoyed by a consciousness apart from it, then how can it be real happiness? That consciousness is apart, that experience is apart, both become unreal. So what is asked of us is that will give to all who aspire to eternal truth. We should aspire for true bliss, not merely the experience of bliss that is kshanika, that is time bound. It is hoped that this work in the form of Bhagavan's grace will give to all who aspire to eternal truth liberation in the form of gaining supreme bliss. So the freedom of final mukti will be the experience of the true ananda of being identified with the Ullapurul. The other side of it is that ananda is shaped as the taking away of all sorrow, all misery. So the misery of experiencer and experienced being separate is removed in the experience of the Ullapurul, Bhagavan. So the author of this book is ever present in each one of us as the Ullapurul. And the author is saying he hoped that the true seekers of this Ullapurul will find that bliss which is the taking away of sorrow. The Maharishi said, why have you said it is hoped? Why have you said that it is something to be hoped in time, that you will get later? Why not say it is certain? Bhagavan is not merely giving us a hope. He is saying, you are that. You can't be apart from the Ullaporul. Your present existence cannot be apart from the Ullaporul. The bliss of the Supreme is not something to be expected or hoped. It is the certainty that is lying as the support of our very existence right now. Why not say it is certain? So saying, he corrected with his own hands my Nambugiren into Tinnam. The Maharishi said, why have you said it is hoped? Why not say it is certain? Hope means future. That is, you will get, you will attain. But what is Bhagavan's teachings? Bhagavan's teachings is that thou art that there is nothing apart from the Ullaporul. Ullaporul, by its very definition, means ever present. So, the bliss you are seeking falsely as a hope is actually the adhara for your very existence now. Only such a one who has knowledge of this can change that word from hoped to Tinnam. It is absolutely sure, because that is the very adhara with which this book is appearing in front of the reader. It is the adhara which has brought the book, which is now going to consume the separation between the seeker and the sought. Why not say it is certain? So saying, he corrected with his own hands my Nambugiren into Tinnam, certain. Thus, Sri Maharishi set his seal of approval to the book, giving to his devotees the great charter of liberation in the form of his teaching, Upadesa, which leaves no trace of doubt about it in the mind. Thus, Sri Maharishi set his seal of approval to the book, giving to his devotees that great charter of liberation, this collected works, in the form of his teaching, Upadesa, which leaves no trace of doubt about it in the mind. The doubter himself is going to be, doubter herself is going to be vanquished, to be absorbed in the self of all. Where can doubt remain? Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. As an introduction to our self-enquiry session, let us pick up something from yet another gem, the talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi, compiled by Munagal Sri Venkatesh. We are finding talk 473. This is dated 15th March 1938. Someone remarked, it is said that they get mukti unasked who live or die within a radius of 30 miles around Arunachala. It is also admitted that only by jnana is liberation obtained. The Purana also remarks that Vedanta Vijnana is difficult to get. There are 3 sentences. One is, it is said that they get mukti who unasked, who live or die within a radius of 30 miles around Arunachala. It is also admitted that only by jnana is liberation obtained. The Purana also remarks that Vedanta Vijnana is difficult to get. So mukti is difficult. Liberation is difficult. But life or death around the hill bestows mukti so easily. How can it be? Once Devraj Mudaliar also was said to have asked this. I don't know whether this particular place it is Devraj Mudaliar, could be somebody else. Maharishi says, Shiva says, by my command, those who live here need no initiation, diksha, etc., but get mukti. Such is the command of Shiva. When Devraj Mudaliar asked this question, Bhagavan says it is Supreme Court order, that it is difficult to understand. Just getting the birth there in Tiruvannamalai or death in Tiruvannamalai, how does it guarantee mukti? Bhagavan, Darshanad Abrasadasi, Jananad Kamalalaye, Kashyantu Maranam, Mukti Smaranad Arunachale. To see Chidambaram, to be born in Tiruvarur, to die in Benares, or merely to think of Arunachala, is to be assured of liberation. Jananath Kamalalaye means by being born in the Kamalalaya. What is it? Kamalalaya is the heart. Similarly, Abrasadasi is seat of consciousness. Again, Kashi is the light of realization. So he has covered Kamalalaye, Abrasadasi and Kashi. All are only the self. Remembering Arunachala, which is also the self, completes the verse. So it must be understood in the same sense, that all these represent only the self. The self itself is called as this place or that, this path or that, bhakti, jnana. All these are names because we cannot directly meditate on the self. The self out of compassion has appeared as Ramana Maharshi. Similarly, it has appeared as these holy places to which we can have love, to which we can be devoted. To be born in Arunachala and to not move out of it, one should have immense bhakti towards Arunachala, that this is the only place, like what Muruganar would do when going around the hill. Somebody would ask him, let's visit this ashram also. He will say, apart from Bhagavan, I don't have any object of bhakti. If you want, you go, let me get down from the car and walk the rest of the distance. Now that is the bhakti which assures, which is given assurance by Shiva, that if you have bhakti on me like this, then mere birth near me is enough. Lakshmi the cow is the proof for us that she has not sought anything other than being present near Bhagavan, and that has lifted her to the highest deityship possible. So bhakti is necessary. Maharshi, everything depends on outlook. One sees that all born in Tiruvarur, or visiting Chidambaram, or dying in Benares, or contemplating Arunachala, or Muktas. That means all are only the manifestation of self, towards which we should develop our bhakti, which will then come in from within us as the self of all and completely devour our separate existence. And that is mukti, that Bhagavan says in Ashtakam, Irundolir Unevidu Tadutidal Devam, Iritane Vilakadu Tadutidalekan, Irundolir Une Ari Urutidar Kendre, Irundane Madandarum Vida Uruvai. Not only in different matas, even within one mata, he is present as the different pilgrimage centers. He is definitely the bhakti towards that will lead one towards the oneness of the self, which will finally consume us into Atmajnana. All the Nama and Rupa of the object of worship will be consumed by the Irundolir Arunachala. Arunachala himself is Chidambaram, Arunachala himself is Abrasadasi, Arunachala himself is Kamalalaya, Arunachala himself is Kashi. So the love towards that Nama will slowly gravitate us towards the self of all, is the sadhana. Let's sit in Atma Vicharam, where the Irundolir nature of Arunachala is directly sought, that when a thought comes, which could have been about Kashi, about Chidambaram, about Arunachala, or about the Kamalalaya. It could have been of any of these, that is Tiruvarur. But put that aside and ask for whom this thought is. The answer will come, this thought is for me. That self-attentive self has both existence and consciousness unified, though it is only a effort-based sadhana. Bhava balathinal bhavanatita sadbhavatirutale undipara. It is the simultaneous performance of pilgrimage in all these places. All these places can be thought of. But who is the pilgrim who is thinking of these places? So the simultaneous benefit of being born in Tiruvannamalai, having visited Chidambaram, being born in Kamalalaya, dying in Kashi, all that happens together when you let go of thought and hold the eye. So let us practice this holy Bhakti Marga Sadhana of Atma Vichara for the next 10 minutes or so. Sir, you can set the time for us.
Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramananjali.
Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. After the self-enquiry session, we have a sharing by Sri Venkatesh Deshpande ji.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Dhyanamulam Gurur Murtihi Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Mokshamulam Gurur Kripaha Mokshamulam Gurur Kripaha. We're doing Manana and Atma Bodha. In the last satsang we did Manana on verse number 64. We'll do a quick recap. Whatever is seen or heard cannot be anything other than Brahman. And on realization of truth, one recognizes the Brahman as existence, knowledge, bliss, and non-dual. The previous verse states that the universe is something other than Brahman, while this verse declares that the universe, whatever is seen or heard, is nothing other than Brahman. These two statements present an apparent contradiction. It is because of the two angles from which the universe is viewed. To one who has not realized Brahman, the universe appears real. He gets involved in the transitory objects and beings of the universe that he perceives. In order to release him from the entanglements, the infinite, imperishable reality is pointed out to him as different from the finite, perishable universe. But a self-realized one, in the homogeneous experience of pure consciousness, sees the universe itself as nothing other than Brahman. As long as you live within the three planes of consciousness, namely waking, dream, and deep sleep, you experience plurality expressed in the form of existence, knowledge, and bliss. But when you reach the fourth plane of God consciousness, you become one with the homogeneous, all-pervading reality into which the pluralistic phenomena merge. In that state of God realization, there exists Brahman and Brahman alone. Today we will be doing Manana on verse number 65. We request Sapna to kindly chant it for us, please.
Yes, sir. Sarvagam Satchidatmanam Jnanachakshurnireekshate Ajnanachakshurneksheta Bhasvantam Bhanumandavat Sarvagam Satchidatmanam Jnanachakshurnireekshate Ajnanachakshurneksheta Bhasvantam Bhanumandavat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sapna, for very nice chanting. The eye of wisdom sees the all-pervading Atman as existence consciousness. The eye of ignorance does not see it, as the blind do not see the resplendent sun. Brahman is all-pervading. The universe itself is nothing but the Brahman. Brahman alone exists and nothing else. The enlightened one has the eye of wisdom, jnana chakshu. The enlightened one has the eye of wisdom, jnana chakshu, to recognize the one supreme Brahman. But those who lack this intuitive vision see the pluralistic world. The knowledge of the world or of any object can arise only when the object exists and the knower is conscious of his existence. The two aspects of knowledge, namely existence and consciousness, are gross expressions of the Supreme Brahman. The eye of wisdom has the capacity to penetrate through these gross expressions and perceive Brahman alone in this world. You acquire the intuitive vision of truth by carefully practicing two essential factors of religion, namely ritualistic devotion and philosophic inquiry. Ritualistic devotion, bereft of philosophic inquiry, is mere superstition. Philosophic inquiry without ritualistic devotion tantamounts to madness. But when you practice both simultaneously, that is ritualistic devotion and philosophic inquiry, one reinforces the other, and together they lead you to the greater spiritual unfoldment. Thus, when intellectual discrimination is applied in an atmosphere of devotional feeling, it penetrates into the unknown and develops intuitive, subjective vision of truth. This is symbolized by the gaining of the eye of wisdom, jnana chakshu. Those who do not make use of their head and heart, thus are steeped in ignorance. To them, the vision of truth is obscured. Truth exists everywhere, at all times. The ignorant do not behold it because they lack the instrument of perception, the jnana chakshu. Denying the omnipresent reality is like the blind declaring that there is no sun at midday. The sun is ever shining with its bright and brilliant light, but the blind man has no eyes to see its resplendence and glory. The metaphor therefore suggests that you should develop your mind and intellect equipment to enable you to realize the Brahman. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana.
Ramana. And this part of the satsang, we were meditating on the verses of Arunachala written by Bhagavan Ramana, and we were still meditating on the verse number 3, where Bhagavan sings, Arunachalatilu Arunakara Paraman Arunaravinda Padame Arunachalatilu Arunakara Paraman Arunaravinda Padame பொருள் நாடு சுற்றுமுடே வருணாதி பற்றியுளம் கருணாடலற்ற நிதமும் பொருள் நாடு சுற்றுமுடே வருணாதி பற்றியுளம் அருணாடள நிதமும் தெருநாடுளத்தினினல் அருணாடி நிற்குமவர் இருநாசமுற்று புவிமேல் தெருள்நாடு நித்தினினல் அருள்நாடி நிற்குமவர் இருள்நாசமுற்ற புவிமேல் அருணாருணக்கதிரின் அருள்நாடி முற்று சுகவருணாலயத்தில் இழிவார் அருணாச்சலத்திலுரு கருணாகர பரமன் அருணாரவிந்த பதமே. And we have a Kannada translation of the same verse where the poet translated as ಹೊನ್ನು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಣ್ಣು ಇದ ತೋರೆಸುವ ತೆರೆಯುತ ಕಣ್ಣು. ಹೊನ್ನು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಣ್ಣು ಇದ ತೋರೆಸುವ ತೆರೆಯುತ ಕಣ್ಣು. ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಚರಣವನಂಬಲು ಭಯ ನಮಗಾವುದು ಇನ್ನು. ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಚರಣವನಂಬಲು ಭಯ ನಮಗಾವುದು ಇನ್ನು. ಹೊನ್ನು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಣ್ಣು ಇದ ತೋರೆಸುವ ತೆರೆಯುತ ಕಣ್ಣು. ಬಾಳಲಿ ಇರುಳು ತೊರೆಯುವುದು ನೂತನ ಬೆಳಕು ತೋರುವುದು. ಬಾಳಲಿ ಇರುಳು ತೊರೆಯುವುದು ನೂತನ ಬೆಳಕು ತೋರುವುದು. ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಕಡಲಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಳುಗಿ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಕಡಲಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಳುಗಿ ಮುಕ್ತಿಯ ಮಾರ್ಗವ ತೋರುವುದು. ಹೊನ್ನು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಣ್ಣು ಇದ ತೋರೆಸುವ ತೆರೆಯುತ ಕಣ್ಣು. ಅರಿಷಡ್ವರ್ಗದ ಅಂಧಕಾರದೆ ಪಂಚೇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳ ಪಾತಾಳದೆ. ಅರಿಷಡ್ವರ್ಗದ ಅಂಧಕಾರದೆ ಪಂಚೇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳ ಪಾತಾಳದೆ. ಮುಳುಗಿದ್ದವರನು ಸಲಹಲು ಎಂದೆ ಮುಳುಗಿದ್ದವರನು ಸಲಹಲು ಎಂದೆ. ಹಾಲಾಹಲವನು ಕುಡಿದಿನಿ ತೋರಿದೆ ಹಾಲಾಹಲವನು ಕುಡಿದು ನೀ ತೋರಿದೆ. ಹೊನ್ನು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಣ್ಣು ಇದ ತೋರೆಸುವ ತೆರೆಯುತ ಕಣ್ಣು. ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಚರಣವನಂಬಲು ಭಯ ನಮಗಾವುದು ಇನ್ನು. ಹೊನ್ನು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಣ್ಣು ಇದ ತೋರೆಸುವ ತೆರೆಯುತ ಕಣ್ಣು. ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಶರಣು. ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಶರಣು. ಆನಂದ ರೂಪ ಆತ್ಮ ಪ್ರದೀಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಶರಣು. ಆನಂದ ರೂಪ ಆತ್ಮ ಪ್ರದೀಪ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಶರಣು. ಶಿವ ಶರಣು ಶಿವ ಶರಣು ಶಿವ ಶರಣು. This bhavartha of this third verse of Navamanimalai says that we should hold on to Arunachala. His lotus-like feet should be held tight and with clarity, with understanding that none other thing is required, no other things are required. Only the feet of Arunachala alone is important. And Arunachala is the heart. And Ramana says, holding on to the heart, holding on to the self alone is the sadhana that should be done with great clarity. Because the happiness that we are searching is not available in anything outside of us. So there is a beautiful story in one of our dance ballets called Ramananjali, where a princess, Manasa, she says, I had a dream. In that dream, I saw a magical mountain. And that magical mountain had everything what we want. It had new clothes. It has jewelry made up of gold and gems and diamond. It had vehicles, the car, the bikes, even the aeroplanes and jets and helicopters, whatever is required, everything was there. And there was houses, small and big, and apartments and skyscrapers and big, huge bungalows. Everything was there. And she saw many people rushing towards that hill. And she stopped few of them and asked, "What are you here for?" And some told, "Yeah, we are here to get new dresses." Some told, we are here to get the ornaments. Some people told, we are here to get the vehicles. Some others told, we are here to get the houses. So each one of them came and took whatever they wanted, and they went away very happily. And she saw them going away happily. And again, after a few moments, she saw them coming back again. And she asked, "Why are you coming back again? You got whatever you wanted." And they replied, "No, I've got one pair of clothes. I wanted one more. I have one set of jewelry. I want one more. I have a bike. I want a car. I have a car. I want a bigger car. I have a bigger car. I want a jet." So all of them came again and again. "I have a house. I want a big house." So everybody came again and again. Again they went back. Again she saw that they are coming back again, sad. She asked, "You got whatever you required? You got again whatever you required. Why are you coming again?" They said, "We want more. We want more. We want more. Look at the mountain. The possibilities is infinite. Whatever you want, the mountain is giving. So we want more. We want more." She saw that these people are coming again and again for more and more, and they are not happy. Their happiness is very fleeting. Again, they want more. So she moves to the other side of the hill. And what is there in the other side of the hill? There are all kinds of relationships. Whatever you want. You want a wife? Here it is. You want a husband? Here he is. You want children? There it is. You want new mother and father? There they are. You want uncle and aunts. You want grandpa and grandma. You want friends. You want a beloved. So everything is available there. So the people are rushing towards that hill, to that part of the hill, and taking whoever they want. They are finding new relationships and they are taking away. And she sees that people are returning back. They say, "Oh, I have a brother, but I want a sister. I have a sister, but I want a brother. I have a child, but I want one more child." So like this, people are wanting more and more. I have friends, but I want more friends. So I have a beloved, but that beloved is boring now. I want a new beloved. So they are rushing and seeking for new relationships. And she goes to the other part of the hill where all kinds of degrees and all kinds of professions, all kinds of occupations are available. There is a degree for science, degree for maths, degree for English, degree for all the various languages. There is degree for arts and crafts. There is degree for the house interior decoration. There is a degree for the home science. There is a degree for getting ready or fashion designing. There is a degree for makeup. So all these degrees are available. And there are various occupations. You can be a teacher, you can be a professor, you can be a doctor, you can be an engineer, you can be an MP, MLA, you can be a minister. So all these are available and people are rushing towards it and they are taking all these things and going away. And she sees, these people seem to be happy. And in few moments, they are returning again with sad faces. She asks, "You already have a degree?" And that person says, "No, I want higher degree." "So you are already a doctor?" "Yes, I'm already a doctor. I want to do specialization and become a bigger doctor." "You are already a dancer. What do you want?" "I'm already a dancer, but I want to be famous." And here is a musician who comes and he says, I've already learned musicians, but I want to learn more. So everybody is wanting more and more and more and more. And by seeing that mountain, that princess wakes up from this seeming nightmare, and she thinks that people have been getting everything. They are searching for happiness in this porul, in this objects, in the nadu, in possessing the property, in the land, and in the relationships, and also in learning and knowledge, worldly knowledge. But there is no true happiness. The happiness is fleeting. And she understands that the happiness that we are searching for can never be attained by any of these external possessions. But Ramana appears to her and reminds her happiness is your own true nature. And it's available to it, and it's so easy. Ayye ati sulabham. The only thing is, the only thing that is required is to have the love towards the self. If we have the love of rejecting everything else and turning towards the self alone with great clarity and with great devotion and love, then what happens is the Atma Surya shines bright, and that Atma Surya engulfs us, and we will merge into the ocean of unlimited bliss, says Ramana in this. I'll read the meaning of this verse, where it says that that which has manifested in Arunachala, the Supreme God, who is most merciful, compassionate, Karunakara Paraman, whose feet of red lotus hue, Arunaravinda Padame, along with goods, that is property, land, family, relatives, along with the above, renouncing from one's heart attachment to color, race, and creed, etc., at every moment, turning one's back to the delusion, not seeking falseness, with a heart that is ever seeking clearness. Those spiritual right seekers who stand seeking good, divine grace alone. Even in this very life, Jivastu Diva, Jivastu Daivika, even in this very life, living in this very world, with the darkness of spiritual ignorance completely destroyed, resembling the rays of young, just risen sun, receiving the rays of grace continuously, they drown in the ocean of bliss. This is the meaning of this beautiful verse given to us by Bhagavan Ramana, who has come to make us understand that we need to shun everything else from outside, because there is no true happiness outside. With this great clarity, if one can turn towards the self, then this darkness is completely destroyed by the rising of the spiritual heart, who is the sun, and one drowns in that limitless bliss, in that limitless ocean of bliss. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. We continue the satsang with the sharing by Dr. Sarada. She has been meditating on the verses of Ramana Ashtottara written by Vishwanatha Swami.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. By the immense grace of the self manifest as Ramana, we in this part of the satsang are meditating on the Ramana Ashtottara Shatanamavali. I think there's some slowness in the... Is it okay? Is the connection okay? Can you hear me? It's okay. I don't know. It's the... Hello? Is this working? Okay. By Bhagwan's grace, we are meditating on the Ramana Ashtottara Shatanamavali, the 108 names, the litany of 108 names composed by Vishwanatha Swami. And we are meditating on the Nama Om Bhagavate Namaha, or one who is Bhagavan, one who is the Supreme One. We saw a few incidents of Bhagavan's supremacy, his limitless power in the last satsang when we meditated on this Nama, Bhagavate Namaha, and the instances of such miracles from Bhagavan, or Bhagavan revealing his own limitless glory, are numerous, although Bhagavan never tried or never allowed people to look upon him as superhuman or supernatural. And one may say, like we hear in Valmiki Ramayana, Rama says, Aham Manusham Manye, I am only a man. So Bhagavan only in very rare instances revealed his Bhagavan nature. But he allowed people to call him Bhagavan. He allowed Muni to call him, to name him Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. And most of the people who were with him continuously would call him Bhagavan. Om Bhagavate Namaha. That Bhagavan is a very intimate way of referring to Ramana Maharshi. Bhagavan, he is ours, he is our own, he is our protector. So that is the sweetness of that Nama, Om Bhagavate Namaha. So many instances. We presented a dance drama in the last financial year a couple of times, once in Chennai in Tamil and here in Bengaluru in Kannada. It was entitled Ramana Mahashakti. It had a few episodes of Bhagavan's power, the revelation of Bhagavan's power. And one of the instances, which is a favorite among devotees, is of the couple from Peru. A couple who had heard about Bhagavan, and even in those days, and they would sit and read about him, and they had dreams of going to his physical presence, and they worked to fulfill those dreams. They literally saved penny by penny, and they managed to book for themselves a voyage to India aboard a ship in what they call deck passengers. Passengers who do not have a cabin for themselves. Passengers who are practically have to travel on the deck, bearing all the vagaries of the weather and various other discomforts. So with all that, they arrived in India, came to Ramanashramam, came to Bhagavan's presence. And when they saw him, they felt like expressing the difficulties which they had had while they traveled. And they did so. Sometimes, when you see a very dear one, At that time, only all the sorrows which you have experienced come to the fore. You feel like crying. You feel like telling them, I had such a tough time. Probably during the journey, they might have been brave. But when they came to Bhagwan's presence, they told him. And he, in his natural compassion, said, why did you have to go through all these difficulties? You could have been with Bhagavan at Peru itself. They did not initially understand his statement. They thought he's giving them some intellectual answer. They had gone through so much of difficulty. And so he gently told them, you must be tired. You can have your lunch and take some rest and then come back. When they came back to his presence, he started talking to them about the beach in which they used to sit and read about the beach and how the beach was, how it was paved with marble, how there were coconut palm trees, two particular trees under the bench, above the bench, where they would sit and read, actually giving them the shade, the coconut trees. And he described in minute detail the beach. And they were absolutely amazed. Those were not days of GPS. Those were not days of the media telling us in a moment how each place looks. When we wanted to present this scene, we could get pictures of Peru online and we could imagine how the scene was, but not so those days. So Bhagavan knew. And they were even more amazed because theirs was not a big town. It was a very small town which would probably not even feature very well on the map. And how did Bhagavan know each and every detail? That is the bench, the third bench on which you would sit and read about Bhagavan, he said. So the omnipresence of Bhagavan, that Bhagavan was never restricted to the body, even when he was in the body, that he is omnipresent and he is omnipotent as well. He understands the need of the devotee and he understands what they have to be given and when. And another instance is also presented in that play of the king, then king of Nepal, who has great love for Bhagavan, who wishes to come to his presence, but unable to do so, he sends his minister to pay obeisance to Bhagavan. The minister, however, is not greatly moved when he comes and sees Bhagavan. He does not feel that sense of reverence for him. He does not even feel that he should prostrate. He sits in his presence for some time and then takes leave, saying that he will visit the Arunachaleshwara temple. And when he goes and stands in front of the Arunachaleshwara linga, he does not see the linga there, he sees Bhagavan there. Not only there, he sees Bhagavan everywhere in the sanctum sanctorum. He sees Bhagavan everywhere, all around him. And then he recognizes Bhagavan's glory and runs back to the ashram, as it were, and prostrates to Bhagavan and thanks him for revealing his glory to him well in time for him to pay obeisance. Such instances are numerous. And yet, Bhagavan was like anyone else. He sat with everyone, ate with everyone, did all the activities with everyone, partook of every activity of the ashram, be it in the kitchen, be it in the binding of books. And thus, Bhagavan reveals to us the compassion of the Supreme, that is all powerful and yet always available to each and every being at his or her own level of understanding and need. That is the wonder of Bhagavan, of the word. Bhagavate Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri.
Ramana. We will have the chanting of a few verses of Arunachala Aksharamanamalai by Srimati V. Radha, and we'll conclude today's satsang by offering Ashtottara puja to Bhagavan here at the Ramana Maharshi Heritage Center. And the Arati song will be sung by Pratibha Sundaresh, and the chanting of the Ashtottaram will be done by myself, Ujwal Jagadeesh.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. சோம்பிய சும்மா சுகமுண்டுறங்கிடு சொல்வேரின் கதி அருணாச்சலா. சௌரியம் காட்டினை சழக்கற்றதென்று கலியாதிருந்தாய் அருணாச்சலா. நமலியிற் கேடா நான் என்னுறுதியல் நாடின் இன்னுருவேன் அருணாச்சலா. ஞானமில்லாதுன்னாசையற்றழவர ஞானம் தெரித்தருள் அருணாச்சலாம். நிம்மிருப்போ நீயும் மலர்ந்தில்லை என்று நேர் நின்றன என் அருணாச்சலா. தத்துவம் தெரியாத அத்தனை ஊற்றாய் தத்துவமிதுவென் அருணாச்சலா. தானே தானே தத்துவமிதனை தானே காட்டுவாய் அருணாச்சலா. திரும்பிய அகந்தனை தினமாக கண்காண் தெரியும் என்றென்ன என் அருணாச்சலா. தீரமில்லகத்தில் தேடி உந்தனையான் திரும்ப உற்றேன் அருள் அருணாச்சலா. துப்பறிவில்லாயிற் பிறப்பெண் பயன் ஒப்பிடவாயேன் அருணாச்சலா. தூய்மனமொழிய தோயும் உண்மையகம் தோயவே அருளென் அருணாச்சலா. தெய்வம் என்றுன்னை சாரவே என்னை சேர ஒழித்தாய் அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ, அருணாச்சல சிவ, அருணாச்சல சிவ, 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 அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ, அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ, அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சலம் வாழி அன்பர்களும் வாழி. அக்ஷரமணமாலை வாழி. நமோ ரமணா.
भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितम् श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामावली अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। ॐ श्री महासेन नमः, सेन जाताय नमः। ॐ श्री रमणाय नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः। ॐ महौजसे नमः। ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः। ॐ जगद्हितावताराय नमः। ॐ श्री भूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः। ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः। ॐ सुन्दराय रसोत्पलाय नमः। ॐ कमनीयचारित्राय नमः। ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः। ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमद्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः। ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ॐ परमार्थविधे नमः। ॐ तीव्राय नमः। ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौळिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशतशूर्णश्रेणं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रदिवे नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसम्रम्भाय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ पुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहास श्रीपण्डितानन्दमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिपुणातिकाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजतचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्तिनिभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईढ्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्टे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिवृन्देन सेवितां सर्वोपहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानां आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविदायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विमुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादकसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ मृच्छान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणानन्दमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसाराणवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणाधीशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषद्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि। यस्ताणोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजलिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्ताधात्म्यभावं गतः निर्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनास्येकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नमैदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे।
नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीवहित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगिये सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानंद पुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತೆ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡು ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೂಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಗಿಯೇ नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि। बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की जय। नमो रमण नमो रमण
नमो रमण
नमो रमणका
नमो रमण
नमो रमण।